All right, y'all, it's the Don, and I went to the Chinese buffet located at 8630 University Park Drive in Charlotte, North Carolina. And y'all know I had to load it up. As you can see from this video, which I did take the chance and slow it down for y'all so y'all can really get a visual of what they had to offer. But as you can see, they definitely have a lot of different choices to choose from. The good thing about our trip is that the time that we went, they were actually in the process of bringing out new and fresh items. So we were looked up on that. As you can see, they definitely had the green beans and the fried crab. We're going to get into that later. But they also had the clams and the mussels and the little low county boil. I like this place because they have the different types of rice, as well as a to-go service if you saw from that to-go plate in the background. They also have desserts, including ice cream and little finger foods, which I like. I like the cookies and I like the little roll. But they also have a lot of different things like pasta. If you saw, they had like the seafood pasta, as well as American items and a carving station. They also offer a hibachi service where you can put up, the items that you want and they'll, make it right there in front of you, as well as the sushi. Now, this is a look at my plate. If your plate don't look like this, baby, you losing. So let's get into these plates so we can start a little balance before the madness. And I do mean madness. So first up, I ate the fried rice with the sautéed shrimp. I also had some bok choy and those infamous green beans. Now, I don't know what kind of magic they put in those green beans, but they hit every time. I don't care what buffet I've gone to, they always have the green beans on the damn menu. The green beans are going to hit every time. So, I wanted to start off with a little healthy before I got into the madness, right? So I was eating away, and I was telling my cuz too the story about how I was watching this porno on X, and I couldn't really get into the porno because the dude that was playing, like, I guess he was like a caveman, or it was supposed to be like a Tarzan Jane type of thing, but it was, so he was so into character, grunting and making like these opposed Neanderthal caveman grunts that I couldn't even get into them fucking. But later on, that's a whole nother story, okay? So I tried to get fancy with oysters, clams, and the steak. Yeah, the steak needed a little bit of A1 sauce or something, because you know how I like my steak. Because it was not given at all, like, to be honest. It was nice, thick, and juicy, but as far as like the flavors hitting and actually being seasoned, it could have definitely used some A1 sauce to give it a little kick. Also, I had the cheesy mussels. They were solid, but those dumplings, I really thought that they were going to hit, but they did not. So I was real salty about that. As you can see, I'm steady fucking them damn green beans up. I tried to concentrate on my main plate to get some greens, some vegetables, some rice and whatnot, but I also sent it around to the other place that I had. I had to double back for the cheesy shrimp crab bake that I also had on my plate because that cheese makes everything so much better. And of course, I had to follow it up with some coconut shrimp. It was like a nice little sweet crunch. And when my cousin went back, she got some fresh ones, and they were so divine. A little crispy, a little creamy, the best of both worlds. Now, I want to get into the crab rangoon because I had got a plate of fried things, and I always like drench the plate with sweet and sour sauce so I can like dip it as I eat it. So I had crab rangoon. I also had the Chinese fried chicken. I also had the butterfly shrimp and egg rolls. Now, if your plate don't look like mine, I'm gonna tell you that from jump. If your plate don't look like mine, what are we even doing? Okay, you want to go to your go-tos, and you also want to try a little something here and there. I've never been the type that was afraid to try something at least once to see what it's given and if I'm gonna like it. You know what I mean? And we had a really good time. There were a lot of different people that was coming in there, including like a lot of families and whatnot. And there was a soccer team that was in there. You can see me looking over at them right now because I clocked their teeth. But they was cool. In the end, we met up with them outside, and they was real cool. They let us know that where they partying at and whatnot. It was a vibe. It was a nice vibe. Now, the last thing that I had eaten was the what was it? The Low County crab boil, which they actually had shrimp. They had some of the Dungeness crabs, sausage, shrimp, potatoes. It was the whole deal. By this point, I was questioning my life choices because I was like, hey, you got to go home and you don't want to fall into the itis, which can easily happen when you eat such a smorgasbord of food like I did. But those sausages with that garlic was definitely hitting. The potatoes, I could have saved the potatoes because they just wasn't hitting like they were supposed to be hitting. You know what I mean? Like they lacked a little bit of a seasoning. You know what I'm saying? I think majority of the season was like in the tray. And if you're using like tongs to pick it up, it kind of makes it difficult to get the whole experience because you really can't scoop up all the flavor. So that was another thing. But those crabs were so good. I like those crabs, and it took me a minute to actually learn how to eat them because those motherfuckers, like, you get them, they fried, so you know the meat on the inside is not there, and they're Dungeness as well, so you really don't have that meat factor like you would with, like, some snow crabs, but it was still good. I think the majority of the meat or the majority of the focal point with those Dungeness crabs is the actual knuckles, which is the white part at the top, because that was so good. It was hot. It was very, very flavorful. They were thick and juicy, and they had a lot of meat in the knuckle. So, would I do it again? Absolutely. Would I regret it later? Probably. But that's the chance that you take when you go into that buffet life. You know what I'm saying? Gang, gang for the buffet, okay? Now, what are some of the go-to plates that you have when you go to the buffet? You know what I'm saying? Do you like the rice? Do you like to go straight to the hibachi? What are some things that you like? You can write in. You can comment below. Let me know. And I will definitely keep y'all abreast with different videos from the different restaurants that my cousin and I go to. Sometimes I'll probably be by myself, and sometimes I'll let the audio play, but it was so much shit being said at this point that I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick with a voiceover. I think that's the safest choice, is to stick with a voiceover, because baby, if I would have let y'all hear a fraction of what was being said out of that mouth as it was being stuffed with food, trust me, it's best that I do it this way. But what are some of your go-to favorites? That's what we want to know. So when you have a chance, I thank y'all so much for watching the video. Make sure y'all share. Make sure y'all subscribe. And again, thank you for the experience.